ASA. Game on daily.
Yes, welcome to episode 22 of Q&A, sir. I don't know where I am or what's going on. I see some regular familiar names there in chat already, though, and one of them I haven't seen for a long time. Tony Okami has been off traveling the world, traveling South Korea and Japan. Tony, are you back now? Welcome back if you are, or welcome back soon if you're not. 7 viewers and 4 likes. The math ain't mathing. Yeah, there should be some extra digits on both of those. Like 7 million viewers, 4 million likes. I'll take that. It's a good ratio. Thank you, Berserker this, Jordan, for encouraging the support. I don't know. What's the wow? Plague's Tale. So my background for the day, it's not massively difficult, has already been busted. I have wheeled my special wagon over to A Plague's Tale Requiem today. Not a game that I've ever played. To get to this, if you have played the game, you'll be aware that this is very much at the start of it. And just getting to this point was painful for me. The stealth required, tutorial stealth, hide and seek with a child, it was freaking awful. I'm not going to play that game. It is not for me. Tony, absolutely missed you very much. You've been ages. You went like 6 years ago on your travels. I've seen the release of Overwatch 2 come and go without you being there. Tony is a keen Overwatch player, plays the big leagues high up in the ranked games, but he's missed it. He's missed the launch of Overwatch 2. You have to do the air quotes for Overwatch because we all know it's not really Overwatch 2. Apart from Tony, who's not had a chance to sample it, I guess. But welcome back. You're gutted that I don't like stealth. Don't be gutted. Nah, it's not for me. I tried. You do. I mean, I assume you've played it. You do the starting section where one of the kids is like, "Oh, let's practice hide and seek and whatever." And I was annoyed at it. Is it bad, Tony? No, probably not. It's probably a really good game for people that enjoy stealth games, which is not me. We'll get on to what I've actually been playing, though, in a minute. First, a word from our sponsor. Oh, have I got it ready? Yeah. Oh, my wagon's in the way. Oh, well, it's good enough. Our sponsor, Game on Daily. Go there. Register, make friends, talk to people, find new content creators. When you're done there, go and check out the YouTube channel. It's a little bit... Gaz did a source video, which was his highest effort, probably best source video so far. So if you haven't seen that, then go and watch it at some point. But generally, he's on holiday for a couple of weeks, so channel might be a little bit quieter unless I start pulling my weight. Still worth checking out, still worth subscribing. Good channel, good shows. Got some good guests lined up for Go Live on Saturday as well. That's it from our sponsor for the time being. So before I get into what I've been playing and what you've been playing this week, I have a profound question. It's not that profound, but it's a question about this show. Have we gone up to like millions of viewers yet? Are there enough people to ask this? Probably not. If you're watching now, if you're watching this later, whenever it may be, please help me decide the future of Q&A. So I've got 4 choices. Option 1 is keep everything exactly as it is. Carry on from episode 22 to episode 822, then reflect on the show and see what we do from there. That's option 1. Option 2 is give up, stop at episode 22, never do it again because everybody hates being here. I'm hoping that no one votes option 2. That's the pretend option that no one's supposed to choose. Option 3 is to keep the show going but change the format a little bit to get a co-host of some kind, so a regular second person to come and talk. And option 4 is to, rather than have a co-host, have a guest each week or something like that. 3 and 4 are obviously fairly similar, and the reason that I'm putting those ideas forwards is I don't want this show to change, to move away from being all about all of you that are here talking to me. The show will always be for that purpose, but I also want it to be good and entertaining. So if you have any, no, not with the poll. The poll is good. By all means, if you are here right now live, vote in the poll and let me know. If you are not here live though, this is a bigger question than usual. It's important to me, the answer. So please do leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would like to see going forward. Because I'm sure I can find some people that I want to get on and talk to live as well. And yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Big question from me. Important answers from you, because it is entirely, I live to please. I'm here for you. I don't enjoy, if I watch this show back, I'm not going to enjoy looking at me. I'm an idiot, but I quite like reading the chat and seeing what all of you have to say. Option 4/option 1. Guess when I feel like it, but the format is good too. Cool. Yeah, appreciate any feedback at all. So that is all good. Now, while that's going on, that can stay there for, I don't know, however long it's going to be. Today might be a relatively succinct, short, concise show, by the way, because partly because my research is poor, partly because I'm tired, and partly because I don't know. I always think it's going to be short, but we'll see how it runs. Let's talk about games. Don't describe a poll if I don't want a poll. I'm very grateful for the poll. Thank you for adding a poll. You are the best mod that any channel could ever have, and everyone here knows it. So thanks. Games. This is a bit where you tell me what you've been playing, and I'm going to talk about what I've been playing. And I can't remember what I've been playing. So if you've been following this channel, you'll know that I had to go at the Quarry for Halloween. You would pick 3 options. Interesting. Painful discourse. If those options do not fit your opinions, use words. Type them here, type them in a comment afterwards, tell me directly, however you want. But yeah, more feedback is great. So I've been playing the Quarry. We had Halloween. Halloween was like spooky season. I've got I know it's not October anymore, but I've still got my spooky ghost mug. I've not got coffee today, I've got a spooky ghost mug. Delicious, but not caffeinated. I've been playing the Quarry, and the Quarry is from Supermassive, who made Until Dawn and all of the Dark Pictures anthology horror games. Until Dawn was very good. You strongly prefer this as a solo show? Ooh, controversial. Okay, cool. A mix between 3 and 4, and sometimes option 1. There's a large competition. It's hard sometimes. It's scheduled that includes people from Europe and the USA. Late night at Europe might do well. I can't shift the time, I don't think, to include more people time-wise. I can think about it, but it's difficult. Sorry, I'm going to try not to keep the interruptions going too bad on this. Every time I get a little bit of feedback. KY, welcome along, just in time for the poll. Why no boob option? Yeah, I think you can only do 4 options in a YouTube poll, so there is no boob room on this one. If you'd like to vote option 5, welcome to the boob room, you're going to have to leave it in a comment. It's the only way. I additional content with collaborators, but keep this place as it is. All good options. All enticing. Feedback. We'll see. So The Quarry, has anybody here played it? Did anybody partake in a bit of The Quarry or Supermassive's previous games like Until Dawn? Because I played Until Dawn a long time ago, near when it came out on PlayStation 4. And that game starts off with really cringy, irritating characters that almost turned me away from it. I almost walked away from Until Dawn because the characters were so annoying. But a little while into it, you realise that it's very deliberate, it's satirical, and they are playing off of certain tropes from horror movies. So, and it just so happens that the first trope is like annoying American teenagers. So if you persevere with Until Dawn, it then moves into like, I can't even remember. I at the time I categorized it into kind of 3 distinct horror sections, like psycho killer onto like creature horror and things like that. The Quarry is like section 1. It's the cringy American teenagers, but it doesn't seem too interested in moving on from that. And it doesn't seem like it's satirical this time. It seems like they're just kind of irritating. You can barely hear it. Yes, you are absolutely right on the OST. It is Skyrim. I would have assumed that I would have used Skyrim on one of the previous 21 episodes, but apparently not. So Skyrim is also my love dungeon. Yes, I have modded love dungeons into Skyrim, so that fits, Tony. You're not wrong. It's really quiet at the moment though, so I'm not surprised you can barely hear it. I'm not even sure if it's making noise right now. But it is playing. It is playing. You will hear it again. Well, I played Devil in Me on the 18th of November too, so I do like to stream a bit of a horror game, but I've not done any of the Dark Pictures Anthology. I don't know if they're entirely independent, like if you need to play them in order, or if I can jump straight to Devil in Me, but yeah, I'm likely to get to it at some point. Very likely to get through storied horrors, but The Quarry, not sure I like it. My take on it is that the characters are deliberately irritating so that you have a real choice in whether you want to kill them or not. And I want almost all of them to die. Aha, AJH has just come in with a bit of news that I haven't seen yet. So just before this show started, AMD ran their little event, and I'll try and touch on that a little bit later. So AJH, please keep that little bit of knowledge there for me. I'm going to come back to it. So Hyla likes the characters in The Quarry, and I don't understand how anybody can. I don't understand. I swear they're deliberately not likable. Like, they're written to grate. And I don't think it's an accident. I think you're supposed to hate them. But I could be wrong, because Hyla does like them, which is weird. If you've been watching my stream, I do... there's 2 things that I enjoy doing in The Quarry. One is getting the characters killed in horrific ways, if I get a choice. And the other is I like to make them drop things. So quite frequently in the game, someone will like throw a phone or some keys or, I don't know, something, and you get a little quick time event that says, oh, you can catch whatever it is that was dropped, and I always let them fail it because it makes me laugh. In fact, let's have a Quarry trailer because I'm bored of the Plague's Tale background. Quarry, The Quarry. Oh, fuck it, you're not YouTube. This is difficult. House of Ashes was popular, but you like that less. To watch them... No, KY. No. The cutscenes aren't that sophisticated and you don't have camera control. No, it is not for that reason. But thanks for throwing me well off with that. The Quarry trailer. Weirdly, The Quarry was initially supposed to be a Google Stadia exclusive when they made it. Fortunately, it wasn't consigned, relegated to that dead platform, and they did bring it to others. So Little Hope is great. Berserker, have you played the series? One of them was reviewed really badly, of the Dark Pictures Anthology, and the others were rated okay. I don't know how they compare to Until Dawn and The Quarry. But I am curious. I do like a bit of horror, and I do like the cinematic like choice and consequence games. The other problem that I have with The Quarry that I find really off-putting is it quite frequently gives you dialogue options Man of Medan might have been the one. No, that was the first one. That was supposed to be okay. I think it was the second one that got slated. I don't know. Anyway, the Little Hope, is that one? Something like that. Little Hope is better and House of Ashes is better still. Okay, so I mean, if people here are telling me that the reviews were wrong, I trust the people here over any reviews. So I will take your word for it. And if they're not sequential, if they're not like related to each other in any way, I'll probably start from the last one near to when it comes out. But the quarry gives you these dialogue choices, and you usually get two options. And in almost every decision that I've had to make so far, none of the options have been things that I wanted to select. So I'll be watching two characters doing like awkward teenager flirting and like movie style, hoping that they both die. And it'll give me a choice and it'll be like, oh, do you want to be affectionate or flirtatious? And I'm like, no. Where's option 3 where they like attempt murder? Every choice in the game, the whole game would be better if every choice had option 3, attempt murder. But it doesn't, and none of the choices are remotely compelling. Probably because, as Isla says, I don't like people, I don't like any of the characters, don't care for their relationships, I don't feel like the choices actually give you any real influence over their relationships. Anyway, and I just want everybody to die. So that's my feedback on The Quarry. Do I recommend that you play it? Maybe, if you like that kind of game. But they are an acquired taste. It is entirely like cinematic based. There's lots of walking around, like linear exploration, where you're just walking hoping that a cutscene triggers or something like that. There are quick time events and there are simple choices as you go. Death is the only escape. Death isn't an escape, Tony. Death is just progression. So you die so that the game can carry on. It's an essential step. I'm not sure how many characters can die, but hopefully all of them. There's a couple that I want to survive, maybe. So for Isla, Little Hope, House of Ashes, Man of Medan, of those small ones. Are they small? I know they have annual releases. Are they like shorter in runtime? Because if the Dark Pictures anthology games are short, then I'm absolutely going to play them. I like short games. I can actually finish them in a reasonable time and go, yes, I finished a game, and move on to the next one. There's also a new Dark Pictures. There's a new Dark Pictures anthology game where you ride a roller coaster. We'll get to that in a little bit because it is one of the main topics for today. I'm glad that they're shorter. Okay, if they're shorter, they sound like games that I could probably finish like in little 2 stream sessions, so I'll probably try and get to them quite soon. Works for me. Ooh, roller coaster. Yeah, kinda. We'll come to that. I don't think it's going to be a particularly exciting one, but we will have a little look at what that is. I've also been playing other games. None of you have told me what you're playing yet, so I'm going to remind you, invite a little bit of feedback, because I like games and I want to hear all of your feedback. All of your feedback on what you're playing and what's good and what's bad. Painful Discourse, the free trial period. Oh yeah, Games with Gold free weekend. You've beaten all of the bosses in... Is it Timesia? Is that how they say it? I don't know. It's like the herb, I'm assuming. Whole world based on herbs and spices. Got all of the endings. It's got compelling combat, but the world is Bloodborne without the creativity and originality. Cool. Case of the Golden Idol, I've never heard of, but you're only giving it a 6 out of 10, so I'll continue to never hear of that one, because there are too many games to seek out a 6 out of 10. What kind of game is Case of the Golden Idol? Is it point and click puzzly, it sounds like, but hard to say. Maybe it's got a trailer. Maybe it's got a trailer. 1 second. Case of the Golden Idol trailer. I'm going to learn what Case of the Golden Idol trailer is. Chocoholly, what are you? Aliens Rock. I'm going to have to get it from Games Radar. I prefer to get things whenever I go onto YouTube. Whenever I go onto YouTube for a trailer, I try to get it from the publisher or developer's own channel, rather than the myriad of dickheads that re-upload trailers and stick their watermark on it, which isn't the case here, by the way. This was a trailer that was shown at the Future Games show, which is run by Games Radar. So Games Radar are very welcome to have this trailer. Detective investigation. So it's like Gotham Knights, yeah? Looks exactly like Gotham Knights. Is this the one? No, it's not. No, it's not what I was thinking. There was one game that was like eerily familiar, eerily similar to Pentiment, but this isn't it. This isn't it. This is a different kind of thing. It's not the trailer doesn't particularly appeal to me, so if you're also saying that it's not brilliant, then I'm probably not going to go and touch it, which is fine. There's many games I don't touch. John. It's a clever puzzler. World's greatest. Right. Berserker this, Jordan. You've played and completed The Chant, action horror game from Brass Token, and you've been putting a dent into Condemned Criminal Origins. So I bought Condemned Criminal Origins about a month ago. It was like £2 or £3 on like the Xbox 360 digital version for the back compat. So my plan was to go and play Condemned as well. I had it on the original 360 on a disc back in the olden days where you had to insert discs to play things. Like, whoa, weird, but I had that. Don't think I ever finished it though. Condemned has a bit of a detective Gotham Knights about it as well, doesn't it? Detectiving and hitting stuff with a stick, I seem to recall, or various melee weapons. A plank with nails in. You see, Painful Discourse. I understand what you're saying there. So Painful Discourse is saying that Thymesia is probably thy, like your, and Mesia. So Thymesia, like it's supposed to be you losing your memory or something between thy and amnesia. I disagree. I have not played the game and not seen the lore firsthand, and you have, but I am willing to put forwards that actually it is entirely based around the herb time. So it is Thymesia. Tony, I don't want to be personally condemned, but thank you for the offer. How are you finding it? How are you finding Condemned after all this time? Does it hold up? Is it good? Is it a shining example of what the back compat program can do? Should I bother to run it? I think I've already downloaded it, but I do need to carve out some time to actually play it, so you can tell me if it's worthwhile or not. And The Chant I've not heard of either, but which I'm curious about, but we're going to carry on. So I've also been playing a little bit of Apex Legends. So this came up last week, but I've got two kids. The younger one likes Apex Legends and the older one likes Overwatch. So I've played Apex Legends with the younger one, and I'm terrible at that. I'm playing that on the PC though, so I get to keyboard and mouse, so I can pretty much shoot straight. Tony, watch your mouth, Tony. I know what you're thinking. You don't need to type it. My aim on the PC is decent. I can play keyboard and mouse first person shooters just fine. I've also played, and I did this one on stream. I didn't play it with my older boy. He refuses to play with me because his friends play Overwatch and he doesn't need me. But I played Overwatch 2 on stream with JT on a day, on Tuesday. If you haven't been following the content that I do on my various channels for very long, then you probably don't know. But I did. I used to stream regularly with JT. Kratos, welcome along. I used to stream regularly with JT. Bruh, Tony, you didn't even Overwatch 2 because you feel like you will disown me. That's not a sentence that makes sense, Tony. You didn't even see it, you didn't watch it, because you'd have to disown me. Yeah, I wasn't good, Tony, so probably don't go back and watch it. I will play with you in the very near future, though. Looking forward to you carrying me up the rankings. So I was playing Overwatch 2 with JT, and JT used to stream with me every Sunday. We used to do Halo on Legendary. The ambition was to go through all of the Halo games up to the point where this was before Infinite launched, so we were going to play through them all, get them all done on Legendary, and then when Halo Infinite launched, we'd jump into that in co-op and get through that on Legendary as well. Turns out Halo Infinite didn't launch with co-op, And it was a good thing too, because we got to about the second or third level of Halo 2. So we finished Halo 1, it was pretty damn funny. And we were working our way through Halo 2 very slowly. Halo 2 is a lot harder than Halo 1 on Legendary. Then JT went and had a kid and disappeared for a little while. He's coming back on the scene now. We're going to do some more streaming. We got started with a bit of Overwatch. Overwatch 2. I'm definitely not like an expert on Overwatch to be able to speak on the changes, but for me, when I went to play it, you could definitely have told me it was just Overwatch and I'd launched the wrong game or something, and I would have believed you. Because I can't tell the difference. So the maps, I've never learned the maps in the first place. I didn't play Overwatch enough to learn the maps. But I'm fairly sure all the maps that I played on Overwatch were the same as, like, the same maps carried forwards. No visual changes, no layout changes, like the same maps with the same game modes on them. It's a little smattering of extra characters, but definitely just Overwatch. You're going to buy the game when it's on sale. Oh, you're congratulating Kratos for his excellent reviews, but Kratos is sticking to not buying the whole $70, 70 money, £70 games. Fair enough. It's not like that game is going to get worse by the time it goes on sale, so if you can hold out and avoid the spoilers, then do it. Do it. God of War wasn't one of the topics that I've got, but I might touch on it really briefly at the end of this little section of what we've been playing. Who wants to play Overwatch 2 with me? Not right now, because I'm doing a show right now, like I'm on the internet. But some other time, who wants to play some Overwatch 2? Because I want to play Overwatch 2. I want to play it on the Xbox and I want to play it on the PC. And I keep getting to the point where I go, oh, I could play some Overwatch 2. I've got like half an hour. Oh, but I hate the people. I hate people. I don't want to play in a team with people. I want to play with people that I speak to, people that I know. So if people want to play Overwatch 2, add me on the Xbox or the, what is it, Blizzard Battle.net. Add me on them and we'll play some Overwatch 2 and it'll be great fun. I'm not good at it, but it'll be fun, and I do heal and stuff. Tony, you're going to carry me. You will not be trashed because you haven't played it yet, because it is Overwatch 1 and you have played it a lot. You are still ranked like top 500 or whatever you were doing. You've never played it? Perfect time to jump in then, because you'll probably still do it better than I will. Especially if we play on Xbox. Overwatch on a controller. See, controller games, I'm competent when it comes to single player, not very good at multiplayer, but Overwatch is really fairly distinct and unique in the way that it handles on a controller, because the aim assist on it is so strong. Like, it's so strong that it interferes with actually steering your character. If you want to run around a corner and there happens to be a person nearby that your auto aim locks onto, you're probably going to faceplant into the wall. It just sticks to them so hard. And that's weird. I don't like that. You get used to, like, you don't literally run into the wall, but you can definitely feel the stickiness. So that's Overwatch. I've not played Psychonauts 2. I've not played Horizon. I've not played any virtual reality. These are things that are and I've not played any Dreamcast. These are my works in progress that I just didn't have time to make any progress on over the last week. But they are not gone and not forgotten. They will be back. Some of those will be back on YouTube over the next week or so. I'm going to finish The Quarry as well. There will be loads more things to play. You thought that I streamed Psychonauts 2. I do, Tony, but not over the last week, I don't think. Unless I can't... I do struggle with the passage of time. I can remember what happened today. Everything else was the past. Like, everything else was yesterday. I can't separate it very well, which means I'm going to struggle a lot. Same as I do every year. We get towards the end of the year and people start saying like, oh, what's your favorite whatever from this year? What are your top 5 games for the year? And I just like melt on the spot because I cannot remember what was this year and what wasn't. Dreamcast was your favorite system at that time frame. Kratos' Dreamcast is a legendary console. If people ask me to name like a favorite console, I probably would name the Dreamcast as a system, and that's despite the fact that it has a really small catalog of games. So when I look for like classic Dreamcast games, there's a very small number of them compared to systems like the PlayStation 2 and like Xbox 360 and things like that. There are consoles that have had bigger, better catalogs of games. But the Dreamcast was a pioneering console. It was doing big things before the world was ready for it, bringing us the online games. 28k modem online games. You had in America, you had much better speeds than us. I think you had a 56k modem. They decided that in the UK we're so dozy that we can make do with half of that and still play Quake. And we did play Quake badly. It taught us to see the future. Like after playing Quake on the Dreamcast for a number of months, I was living like 200 milliseconds ahead of real time so that I could keep up with shooting people. It was good. It was good. It was like a superpower. All thanks to the Dreamcast. And I have one. I picked one up recently. Got a Dreamcast from a friend. It's sitting beside me. If I look like I'm peering over to the side of my wagon, it is. It is down. If I just reach into my little wagon here, is that right? Somewhere in my wagon is a Dreamcast. And put it back in there. Just seatbelt on it, ready for when the wagon moves on. Callisto Protocol. Yeah, so Plague Tale is your game of the year, but it's a stealth game. That's a wild thing to say. Stealth games are default terrible. I'm glad that other people enjoy things that I don't. Magic Wagon Bus Purse. It's like just a regular wagon. It's definitely a real regular wagon. Plug yours in and play a few games. What would you play, Kratos, if you were to fire up a Dreamcast? What game is calling your name? Berserker this. I'm really not sure on Callisto Protocol. It looks like really good in some ways, but they showed, I could bring it on screen, but I can't be bothered right now. They did that gameplay demo with the sliding down the water chute. And suddenly it didn't look very good anymore. Everything in that demo, gameplay-wise, was like fighting aliens with Jedi powers in rooms with meat grinders everywhere. Like weird, never passed any health and safety assessment, freestanding meat grinders, and you just Jedi everything into the meat grinder. And it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But it was followed by a Tomb Raider slide, which, I don't know, yeah, it gave me some doubts about it. But hopefully the game will hold up. It looks pretty, it's potentially good, and it's horror, and it's the kind of horror games, it's weird that I like them because they innately do require some stealth. I don't mind stealth in horror games. It's not the same as stealth with like people stealth mechanics. You know, there is a distinction whether it makes any sense or not. I don't mind hiding from a monster. I don't like hiding from people. Yeah, I think there's some sense to that. And security cameras. I don't like hiding from security cameras. That's lame as shit. Stupid spotlights. Get off my game with your spotlights. God of War Ragnarok will probably be very good, but overrated as the 2018. There are hints in many reviews that they didn't address most of the weaknesses. They just put a band-aid on. Elden Ring will lose on recency bias, though. Well. I have not read a single God of War Ragnarok review, and I don't know. I understand you reading it, because you, Painful Discourse, you're expressing there that you have some doubts about it. There were things you didn't like in 2018, and you're reading the reviews to see if those have been addressed and if it's been made better. That makes a lot of sense. For me, I liked 2018. I have absolutely no reason to watch any trailers, read any reviews, read any previews, or know anything about the game, because I want it already. So I haven't read any of them. I'm hoping that I can pick it up pretty soon. I do have too many games on the go at the moment that I should try and round off and finish up. But I very much want to play God of War Ragnarok. I agree with you that if it does well at the Game of the Year awards, it is recency bias and journalists forgetting just how much they loved Elden Ring at the start of the year. But journalists say. I saw one person was writing reviews. What was the game? What was the game? I can't remember. Might have been Gotham Knights. They wrote a review on Gotham Knights. Not going to name names because I don't like to name names when I'm speaking ill of someone, but there was a screenshot on Twitter of like some user reviews on the Xbox platform, and it was just simple things where people were saying that they liked it, and this reviewer for a pretty big publication said, this is why I hate and say what I say about user reviews, and that got my back up. It's like, what a dick. Like, every one of those people, their opinion is every bit as valid as yours, you arrogant piece of shit. So that's why I'm not going to name names, because then I can speak more freely on what I actually thought of what they were saying. I like user reviews, journalist reviews too. Like, obviously I support people creating content and like that, but God, don't have your head up your own ass. Users are cool, they know what they're doing, they have opinions, they play things and like things. Loads of hobbyists know loads about games. Most journalists that are writing reviews have no special credentials. Like, they're not people that worked in the industry and have any exquisite taste. So, and I'm sure most journalists wouldn't share his opinion. Was it Gaz? No, it wasn't Gaz. Gaz does have his head up his own arse sometimes, but it's not even true. He doesn't. But he wouldn't speak down on other people like that. That's not a thing that he does. So it was weird to see. I actually, one of the most reliable sources for me for finding out whether a game is good or not is not like Metacritic or anything like that. It's just Steam user reviews. Nice and simple. People thumb it up or down, and you get exceptions on there where people like review bomb a game because they don't like something that's been said or like some controversial element around a game. But usually you go to a lesser known Steam game and check the user reviews. They're on point. They know whether games are good or bad. So, well, no, Tony, YouTube's not good for clipping. YouTube does have they introduced clips like for sharing stuff around, but it's not like Twitch where it actually keeps them in a way useful. Just gives you a little temporary link to spam around. Kratos' House of the Dead 2 you'd struggle with, because assuming you had the light gun, old light gun games relied on like the screen flashes. You remember that was quite horrible to actually watch. Fun to play, brilliant games, but I don't know, maybe someone's made some kind of light gun that works with modern TVs, but the ones that came with it, like the original Dreamcast light guns, don't. You used the controller, you're a wild thing. That must have been weird. I'd sooner play Typing of the Dead than play House of the Dead with a controller. Typing of the Dead, for those that don't know, is House of the Dead, but rather than shooting zombies, it would... Oh, there's got to be a trailer for Typing of the Dead. It would throw up a difficult word for you to spell. So it was like the world's best typing aid. Typing of the Dead trailer. So this wasn't a Dreamcast thing, this was on the PC. Typing of the Dead gameplay... There's Typing of the Dead 2. That'll do for a trailer. Let's watch that. So it looks properly House of the Dead ancient. Oh, this isn't the English version. We're not going to understand typing in Japanese. Bad choice of trailer, me. But Typing of the Dead, I've never played it, but the idea is novel and I like it. So if you don't type the word quickly enough, you won't shoot the zombie and you'll get bitten. You recall a bit that you had to set it up with crazy speed and you believe it was just remembering where the enemies were. Yeah, this isn't going to make sense, but let's see. Quick, type the words, and then they die if you've typed them quickly enough. Japanese trailer is a terrible choice, but you get the idea. You get the idea, maybe. House of the Dead, you think you played it on your 39th birthday while eating a family-sized trifle? It's even more difficult. You've got a spoon in one hand and a controller in the other. If you had the light gun, that would work. You could be like bang, 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 blah, 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 blah. But with a controller, it's a heroic effort. and heroic effort. This typing thing sounds oddly familiar. Typing of the Dead or typing in general? Typing in general, I'm sure you've done. Wait a minute, spooky mug. See, that's where I could have a guest. I could just have someone that cameos to talk while I drink. Would work for me. Anyway, so God of War, let's really quickly... No, there's nothing to say about it. You shouldn't listen to me. You know if you like God of War. You've played God of War 2018 if you have any interest in the franchise. And if you enjoyed that one, then you want to play the new one and you know exactly what it is and what you're getting. So... yeah, that's the God of War topic. Done. That's why it's not on the thumbnail or anything. It's like, for a lot of people, it's a big bit of news this week, but it's not really, is it? It's not really. Game's good. Get it if you like it. So let's move on. Let's talk about, my favorite. Don't disconnect suddenly. We're going to talk about the virtual reality bit. Still there? No, just me now. PlayStation VR2. Oh, what was the launch date? Let's bring up the blog. This isn't going to be the most compelling thing to look at. It's not a freaking blog. I meant to prepare and get this ready, but I didn't. So, launches in February. Pre-orders are November the 15th. Costs $550 for the base pack. $600 if you want the Horizon game with it, which they're pushing as the kind of flagship marquee title, the showcase for PlayStation VR. Tumbleweed, no, KY, no, Tumbleweed, no. We all love I love the VR, and if you... I'm going to do so much more VR stuff, I'm sorry, but I do like it, and I know it splits the audience somewhat and a lot of people don't, but I want to do more and more stuff in VR because it's incredible. And I like it. And that's not speaking on PlayStation VR2 specifically, but VR in general. I adore it. So, $550, it's £530. When we were talking about price on this, I said for a long time that I thought they were going to be aiming for $400 to $450, but that they couldn't hit it, that it was going to be at least 100 more than that. So I consider myself correct on that, but I'm not one of these just going to go around Twitter going, yeah, look how clever I was, I guessed the number. That's not me, but prices landed pretty much where I expected for the technology that's in there. A lot of people are unhappy with it. A lot of people say that it's too expensive, or that it's dead on arrival because of the price of it, and like, oh, economic hardship and all the rest of it. There's some degree of truth in there, and there's some degree of hello, father. Andy W, who I assume is my father, with a newly registered YouTube account, just so that you can ask for a PlayStation VR 2. Father, I have no money. You can't have one for Christmas, but if I ever come into lots of wealth, I'll get you everything you need. $756 in Canada, plus a whole load of tax. So I assume the American price doesn't include tax. The UK price does. The 530 quid does. Which is expensive. It is more expensive than a PlayStation 5, and you do have to have a PlayStation 5 on top of it to play it. So you're looking at like over $1,000 to get this delicious virtual reality setup. And it is going to be a hard sell. Sony are going to struggle to push numbers and get an appreciable audience to Tony, yes, okay. To get an appreciable audience to not only make games themselves and sell them, but to attract other developers to support VR in a meaningful way. And it's been VR's biggest problem and one of its big problems for a long time is getting that content out there, because the ecosystem is young and small. Not young in terms of years. I think mostly old people like me like it, but it's young. It's a new audience. It's not a big audience. So if you're making a VR game, you really have to hit that whole audience if you've got any hope of making money, or you have to keep your budgets very, very low, which is why the VR content space is the way that it is. For the price, though, for what you get for your money, I'm not in a place to talk about whether it's worth it to anyone here or anyone anywhere, because that's obviously a very personal thing, like value of money to you, whether you're interested in VR or not. But in terms of the hardware that's included and its place on the market relative to other virtual reality headsets and things, it's very much worth that price. So, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? I was reasonably clear on the context of me saying that it's worth it. I want to be really careful not to say, like, I recommend that you go and buy it. It will be worth it for you, because that is not necessarily true. But in terms of its place on the market against other VR headsets, and I'm not talking about the Quest Pro. Quest Pro's just come out for £1,500 and is a quite different proposition. But even against things like the Quest, so the closest thing to a mainstream virtual reality headset at the moment is the Meta Quest 2, which used to be £300. It's fairly recently gone up to £400, which is the point where I said Sony are not going to be able to hit the price that they wanted if Facebook can't keep the price of theirs. Meta Quest 2 is £400. It doesn't come close to the specs of this one. It's talking specs of a standalone headset versus this is a little bit convoluted. So the Meta Quest 2 is an entirely all-in-one standalone headset. It's got all of the hardware strapped to your face, and you play games locally on it natively. The PlayStation VR2 is a companion for the PlayStation 5. So the bulk of the hardware is in that giant ass console that we all know, like the huge mattress console. And what's in the headset is the display technology and the tracking and things like that. So they are different in that sense. And in that sense, when you're talking like for like on pricing, Quest 2 is 400, PlayStation VR2 package is more like 1,000. But the quality of the displays, there is nothing on the market that is equal to the PlayStation VR2. On the commercial market, there are like Vargio or whatever they're called, like weird, very niche, like business to business headsets that can outgun the PlayStation VR2. But as far as I know, it's the only virtual reality headset that supports HDR. It's got very nice resolution, very nice refresh rate, very nice lenses, and it's got a PlayStation 5 power in the experiences, which, yes, you can get a more powerful PC, but the content isn't there and isn't really arriving. So the PlayStation 5 as a baseline for delivering games is very, very appealing. So, Kratos, you're still waiting for the games for it. We're going to have a look at the games because they are problematic. They are not where they should be. Someone designed a baby sling to hold the PlayStation 5. Yeah, massive. Well, a baby sling's not going to cut it. That thing is bigger than the average baby. But, and yes, you make a good point, KY. The absolute biggest weakness, the one thing that really is putting me off of the PlayStation VR2, not right off, I still want it, but it is this little wire. This little wire is a massive disappointment. We've known about it for a while. This isn't news, and I'm sure we've spoken about it before, but it is a big shame that it's tethered when the technology is there to do better. You're off to make dinner. If you're still... Yes, Kratos, I promised that I would try and make this short, and it is running fairly long already, but hopefully I'm not going to see you later. Hopefully I'll be gone by the time you've made dinner. And that's definitely not an insult. Thank you for coming by. With small wires come great electric shocks. KY, have you been nibbling wires again? I'm sure we discussed this. Keep them out of your mouth. But with small wires on a VR headset comes getting tangled up and choked. It's just a general annoyance, which for a long time I didn't think was a big deal. When I was playing with wires, I was like, yeah, it's like slightly annoying, but you get used to stepping over it. And then I started using the Quest 2 with my PC without a wire to play things like Half-Life Alyx. And it's very difficult to go back to having a wire once you've got used to that freedom. So, Tony, I don't know if my dad is still here. He may also not know. I'm not sure he's ever seen a PlayStation 5. So that's going to be an unanswered question, I'm afraid. Disappointing, I know. What was I talking about? Let's look at the games. Because I mentioned earlier, if if there are any questions that anybody has, if you've looked at these VR specs and you don't know what anything means or how it compares to other things on the market, then you throw that question in there and I will gladly tell you what's good, what's bad, what's meh. But otherwise, I'm going to assume we all know it's a brilliant headset with decent enough tracking, night and day, massive difference over and above the PlayStation VR1, and a very expensive toy. Where's the games? This is not the right article. I don't want to view and download an image. I don't want to view and download an image. What is this? You can pre-order. Ah, right. 11 new games announced. What they haven't said is that these are the entirety of the launch catalog. But there's an assumption that this is the full launch. What do I think the battery life will be? Oh, for the controllers, I was thinking the headset doesn't run on a battery. That's what it's got, the wire, so it will be powered. But the controllers will run on batteries, and presumably they'll be ballpark similar to the DualSense. They've got a similar set of features, so probably you'll be lucky to get 3 or 4 hours out of it, but that is probably long enough for a virtual reality game for most people. That would be my guess, assuming it's got yeah I'm sticking with that. That's my guess. So games wise, it says that they showcased some of the games coming. In fact, Horizon's not on this list, so it's definitely not the entire launch catalogue. That's good news. The one that I mentioned earlier, though, I mentioned that there is a Dark Pictures roller coaster game. It is on PlayStation VR2. So, Supermassive that make it did an Until Dawn roller coaster horror game for the PlayStation VR. PlayStation VR 1 was really, really limited in what it could do. And essentially, if you were facing forwards the entire time, you were probably okay. But if you had to turn, you were in trouble. So their roller coaster game on PlayStation VR 1 made some sense because of the limitations of the hardware. But for them to be doing what is essentially a pseudo sequel, Dark Pictures roller coaster ride, I'm not old enough. I told you, like, that's going to do it, innit? It accepted it. I'm over 1,000 years old, according to this trailer. Let's see if I can get some volume on this one, because I've not seen it. My sound has turned off. My wagon's a little bit in the way as well. Let's go theatre mode. Yeah, it's an original story, and you literally sit in a roller coaster, so it's the ultimate on rails shooting experience. It doesn't look very good. I'm sorry. Oh, now I've got sound. Whoa, it's screaming at me. And I can hear me too. I don't like that. Oh, I've made a terrible error. Wait there. We're going to get our moment. You know how we have every stream, just briefly, me with the Inception going on. It had volume, so as soon as I enabled my YouTube volume, I heard me. Tony asking, you know what you need for your VR setup? Have you seen the movie Lawnmower Man? I've seen the movie Lawnmower Man, but not recently. What from Lawnmower Man do I need? This doesn't look right. My Inception thing has gone wrong. It's because it's supposed to be small. That looks horrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for doing that to you. It was supposed to be more like this. This is our usual feature. Oh, the trailer looked terrible. So it looks nothing like the Dark Pictures. The original Until Dawn roller coaster game looked nothing like Until Dawn. It seems to be a terrible mistake to me. The whole circle in case you see you don't destroy your house while playing. Oh, you just reminded me, Tony. I had a neat idea for my streaming setup that I ran out of time to try and do. Sony has overcome the brain melting side effect of virtual reality from the Lawnmower Man. Yes, Yes, they have, hopefully. Tony, what do I think about Elgato webcam? You're surprised it took them this long. I'm surprised it exists. That's a very strange, niche, nerdy question, Tony. So, people wondering what Tony's question is all about. Elgato have just released a relatively high-spec, £300, 4K 60 webcam. Don't yell that you're disappointed at me. I'm gonna go all like past trauma, crying on the floor. Which isn't true. I've never disappointed anyone. Maybe my father. Maybe he's gone. I'm sticking with it, sticking to my guns, and nobody can say otherwise. Isla, if anybody speaks up and says that I have disappointed them, please mute them before anybody sees the message. Yeah, so that's the first game on the list from this blog post, which I'm going to bring back. Let's bring back my blog post. I can't. It's me again. Sorry, we get a double inception this week. It's going away. The list is fairly underwhelming overall. I'm going to say that from the get-go. I've not watched all of them. I've not watched this Crossfire one. Crossfire is a weird one because, you know, it's got its Xbox multiplayer and campaign game that underwhelmed most people. So it's surprising to see them venture out into PlayStation VR2. Oh, I love it. This is going to be great. Is it multiplayer? Is it campaign? Whatever. It looks better than anything else that you've played this year on your pancake screens, you heathens. And that's just a crappy Crossfire game. Shoot the barrel! Shoot the barrel! Ah, waste. Whoever is filming for this trailer has no idea what they're doing. Like, you don't just walk past a red barrel. So, I hadn't watched this trailer. This actually looks really good. This looks really good. I will play this one. Requiem better. Luckily for you, Jordan, this isn't coming out until next year. Because PlayStation VR2 is next year, so. The trailer's going on a bit long. I don't need to see this much of it. I get the idea. I understand what this game is now. Yeah, don't do flashbangs in VR. That's cruel. So yeah, this is looking like it's a campaign game rather than a multiplayer, but hopefully it'll have multiplayer as well. And if PlayStation VR2 can deliver regular content of that caliber, and it might turn out to not be a brilliant game, but it looks good there. If they can get that kind of budget and that kind of caliber of game regularly, then that's good news. Right, there's another one I've never heard of next. And yes, Tony, droplets of sweat. You won't see them. I keep far away enough from the camera that my sweat is contained and hidden away from the cameras. Sometimes I just wear a t-shirt that shows it and is quite grim. Whatever. It's good for everybody. All right. There's another game here. And I am whizzing through these. I know these are VR games and you're probably like, oh, I wish we were watching the God of War trailer. We're not. We're watching the VR trailers so that we can get an understanding of what kind of content we're going to get for PlayStation VR2 and whether it is as brilliant as its potential. And it does have really, really high potential. How disappointed am I in PlayStation VR2? I am not disappointed, Kayasanti. I'm thoroughly excited. Did you watch the Crossfire trailer? It looks amazing. Now I'm going to watch the Light Brigade trailer. I've never heard of it. I don't like it. Oh, this one says that it works on PlayStation VR 1. That's bizarre. Kayasanti, tell me why you're disappointed by the PSVR. Obviously, the main thing that they announced was the price and a fairly underwhelming list of launch games. This one isn't it. This is a game that is surely coming to Quest as well, because it looks like it should be on the Quest. I'm underwhelmed by whatever this is. Mario? Nothing about me is anything like Mario. I hope. Stop being cold. Get warm, noob. KSNT, I'm desperate to know what you're disappointed about. I understand if it's that game that we just watched, that trailer. That's not going to sell VR like to anyone. Cities VR Enhanced Edition. It seems as though they went backwards in VR gameplay. More on route. Yeah. So KSNT, there are things about the content that are disappointing. The first game that we looked at, the roller coaster Dark Pictures one, that is disappointing, but I'm not going to condemn the whole headset based on an obscure thing. This is also, so Cities is a quest game. It's quite a good game if you're interested in city building and simming. But I think they needed to work a bit harder on the updates for VR. So this, I will say, while it looks very underwhelming on Pancake trailer, like this will look more enthralling when you're actually in it and playing. But this is obviously pretty underwhelming on the graphical front. It is just a Quest 2 game ported across, which is a bit of a shame. Cold is so last decade. I don't know about that, Tony. You see what winter brings, although... Are you actually home, Tony? You haven't confirmed that yet. Have you flown back? Or are you tuning in from Japan? RGT85 said all the games are available on other platforms. The launch looks sweet. I am on... Oh, I'm not on live chat. Oh... I've ruined everything. YouTube insists on defaulting to top chat, and I specifically opened live chat, but my window didn't work, so I had to open a fresh one. Which means KSNT has probably answered, oh, the poll's come back. I don't want to end the poll, I just want it out of my face for a minute. Right. Does that mean that KSNT has answered? Yeah. No, I'm there. You were hoping that Sony would subsidize the price. Of course they didn't. You're still excited to own. I wouldn't necessarily say that they haven't subsidized the price at all. I don't think they can afford to subsidize it by a huge amount. I don't think that they wanted to release it for this amount. But hardware is not bad for that price. It's obviously not like a instantly going to sell millions to loads of people kind of price point. I understand disappointment on in that front. The games-wise, though, KSNT, stick around a little bit, and I'll mention the games that are more exciting than these. Cosmonious High is on other platforms and is a good game. I haven't played it yet, but I want to. It might look a bit silly, but Alchemy Labs made the Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator before they made this. So those games they're definitely in the realms of the experience rather than the game, like getting to know VR and figure out what works and what doesn't. But they are a studio that's pretty committed to their VR, and Cosmonious High is from them. And while I haven't played it, and it might look silly, it probably is going to be quite fun. Oh, I take it back. Now that I'm actually watching the trailer, it looks freaking awful. What have you done, Alchemy?
Has been commandeered by students. Oh, you're like a walking prank machine. Love this powers thing.
Something strange is
Okay.
happening at Cosmo High. and a new
It's
kid
better
and
than
I
the
will
trailer
find out
looks, I
what.
think. VGC dropped an article that Hideo Kojima is tired with people sending him deep fakes with abandoned Sasan. Good, he should be. Sony should, or someone should surely have been able to shut that down properly by now. Right, Hello Neighbor. I'm going to bring this up again so you can see what I'm looking at. Hello Neighbor, I'm not going to watch the trailer for. I'm going to really briefly bring it up halfway through to get a little glance at the visual quality there. Yeah, it's what you'd expect for Hello Neighbor. Not super impressive. Not something I'm interested in. Goodbye, Hello Neighbor. Spooky Dukes. Jurassic World. The art style here says cel shaded. Again, I've not watched these trailers yet, so we're learning together as we do this. Oh, this one's not a trailer, it's just a picture. Oh well. Pistol Whip is very popular in the PC and Quest. Yes, Isla, that was Hello Neighbor VR. You can play Hello Neighbor in the VR. You also really want to see high caliber exclusives from Sony. So far, you're not impressed. No Insomniac games. They basically owned the Rift and Rift S platforms. Yes, and I'm sure Insomniac, like the team that did all of those games for Oculus, are surely working on VR. So give it time, but we will get to the games. Don't worry. Make dinosaur noises. You don't know what dinosaurs sound like. That might have been it. Zenith. I call it Zenith, but I think it's supposed to be Zenith. KS Anti doesn't like it. I actually really like this. I want to go back and play this on the PC at some point, or on the PSVR. It's a fairly big RPG, but it is made by a fairly small team, so don't expect the world, but it is quite fun to play in my opinion. But I'm not going to play on the PlayStation because it works really, really well on my treadmill in the PC space. I like that game. I need to play it again. I'm going to become exclusively a Zenith VR streamer and content creator. Fuck everything else. I'm just going to play this. Don't like the trailer though, so that can go now. Shut up, trailer. Stop playing at me. Right, that's gone. So Zenith is coming out for it. That's not bad. Like, you could put a lot of time into that if you wanted to. Ghost Song is today. What does that mean, Painful Discourse? Tony, you've learned something new about yourself on your trip. Again, so people don't know, Tony's been to South Korea and Japan, touring around. You like not being bothered by humans. It was so peaceful, not knowing all the shit that comes out of people's mouths. Yes. Does that mean you're staying? Staying there now. The beginning was too World of Warcraft. Hopefully they find their own voice soon enough. So they are completely revamping the beginning though. Being a small team, you're right that the beginning was fairly basic. I wouldn't say it was necessarily like World of Warcraft, but it did lack a little something. It was a little basic. They are redoing all of that, giving it more character. So, oh, he said he's in Seattle. Oh, I'm so sorry, Tony. Ghost Song is on Game Pass. Oh yeah, it's the start of the month, so we could talk about what's coming to Game Pass, but I'm not sure there's going to be time. After the Fall, closer look on PlayStation VR2. So After the Fall is it's a decent game. It's a co-op. You can see what it is. Let's go theatre. Pow pow pow. It's a co-op game that didn't quite set the world on fire. Oh, shut up, guy. Shut up, guy. I'm telling them what it is. Shut up, guy. Alright, he's muted. This is a reasonably polished game. It is just it's a Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead style thing in VR, which should sound really appealing because it's cool. I actually haven't played it. I'm speaking out my ass. Those guys know more about it than me. They made the game, but let's just pretend that I know more. This one's a good one. If you know anybody else that's getting into VR, I'm assuming this is cross-platform. You can get it on the Quest, you can get it on the PC. Hopefully there will be lots of people to play the game with. Shut up, Alistair Burns. Damn it, that's not how you do a trailer. So that's going to be a good one. Are any of these games up to the level of Alex? No, but KY, stick around and I'll tell you the ones that are. Tentacular I'm not going to watch. This is one person made this, and that's not to say that it's terrible, but it, again, is not the Half-Life Alex game that you're looking for. And yeah, so this list they put in the blog, this is quite an unfortunate list, I think, because it is pretty underwhelming as lists go. I'm going to stick that. Oh, it's still on theatre. I didn't realise. This is Pistol Whip is very good, by the way, but it's not a Half-Life Alyx game. It's like a rhythm shooter, so not what you're looking for there. They have bigger games that for some reason they didn't put up. It's weird because they haven't presented this as if this is the entire launch catalogue, and we know that it's not because Horizon isn't on this list. So there are definitely at least one other game on there, but games that are gonna make the first year good or bad for PlayStation VR2. So my list of ones to look out for are, yes, the Horizon game. So Kayasanti has already said about the combat being potentially underwhelming. The Horizon game looks like it's going to be really disappointing in one sense. So they've shown the combat for it is Oh, maybe I can find that rather than just talk about it. That would be smart. The combat in Horizon should be, if you just like go for a typical person imagining what that experience should be like in VR, you're going to think about what we've played of Horizon and you're going to run around with the bow and arrow doing shooty stuff. That's what it should be. But rather than it being like that intuitive system of fighting, the game seems to go, it's freeform when you're climbing. You can walk around a bit and lots of climbing with your hands, which is fine. That's a mechanic that works very well in VR. But it's you get into combat, like a robot dinosaur will appear, and then it locks you into a combat mode where you're stuck in like a circle around them. So you don't have freeform movement. You've got your bow and arrow, but it becomes more like a rhythm action game. So the enemy will telegraph an attack, and you have to press a button to dodge to one side or the other, rather than freeform. And that sounds freaking awful. Like, it looks freaking awful. And the reason that they're doing it is surely because they need their flagship game, their showpiece for PlayStation VR, they need it to not make people sick. So their primary objective with it is not to blow your minds with the best game possible, it's to do something that looks nice and doesn't make you feel sick. And that's going to make that game a disappointment for people that can already play in VR. Hopefully it'll do well for them, bringing people into it, making people a little bit more confident to play a bit more. Because this is the main problem that PlayStation VR 1 had, is that people tried Resident Evil 7 and threw up in their shoes. But blah 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 blah. Okay, Santi, have you got a Quest Pro? Are you a fancy pants with a Quest Pro? Yeah, that's Call of the Mountain. It will be impressive in its own right. It's going to be a visual showcase, but the gameplay looks super disappointing at the moment. The ones that I would say to look out for that should come within the first year are Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 2 Retribution. So Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, the first game was incredible. Like, it's up there for me alongside Alex as one of the best games in VR. It's not quite as sophisticated in some ways, but it's an amazing game. You get to stab zombies with a spoon, and if you're lucky, you can get the spoon back out of their brain. So, one to look out for: Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 2. That'll be very good, and that should be within the first year of the thing. But I don't think it'll be ready at launch. They've revealed the title of it now. There's a Ghostbusters VR game. Let me find it on the website. And this is almost secret. It's not secret. It's not been announced by Sony yet. But Ghostbusters VR... what's it called? I don't know. It does have a name. I'm gonna find it. Rise of the Ghost Lord, it's called. Oh, it has a trailer. This is the Quest trailer, but it's still a trailer. Let's have a little look. I've not seen this. Whoa. Go big, stupid trailer. It won't. Full screen is unavailable, so I'll go theatre mode so you can see it a little bit bigger. But for some reason I can't full screen it from here. So this is looking pretty slick, just running on the Quest. I don't know a lot about this game, so I'm learning as it goes. But it's made by Endreams, who made Fract and Phantom Covert Ops, which are pretty good. And this is clearly their biggest game so far. So they're very good at making virtual reality games, making games that work in that format. And now they've got a bit more of a budget and a fancy license. So this game, I think, will be exceptionally good. I like Endreams. They didn't give me a job when I applied there, so they're kind of dickheads. But apart from that, I do like them. And this game is listed on their website as a PlayStation VR2 game. So Sony haven't shown any trailers for it yet. Nobody has talked about it yet, but it is very much a PlayStation VR2 game coming in 2023. So look out for that one. What was the other ones? Hopefully Half-Life Alyx will come. They've not announced it yet. I don't see why Valve would withhold it. There are good reasons why they would withhold it, but I don't think that is Valve's kind of personality or stance on the industry. So I think that will probably come. And shooty fire game. There's a pretty big, pretty good multiplayer. I've completely forgotten the name of it. A multiplayer shooting game on PlayStation VR 1. Fire something. They've already shown this game. It's definitely coming. PlayStation VR 2 version. Gun game. That'll be very good as well. Am I calling for an End Dreams boycott? KY, if I can get enough people to boycott them until they give me the VR content scout job that I applied for there, yeah, let's do it. But if I can't get that kind of support, then we might as well buy and enjoy their games, because they are good games. And Iron Man is surely going to come as well. Iron Man was a PlayStation VR 1 game, but it is so Meta bought the studio that made that game for Sony, and that game is now coming to MetaQuest, and it's inevitable that part of that deal is that it also comes to PlayStation VR 2. And I suspect a couple of the other previous PSVR 1 games will come across as well. So those are the bigger titles that Sony are not showing as much yet, but they are coming, apart from Alex possibly isn't. But those are the big titles that will make or break the first year for it if people are looking for content. The big question is, when it's priced as it's priced, is there going to be a second year? Is there going to be a third year? Is it going to be worth supporting for other developers? Oh, and like Sandy said as well, Sony did buy Insomniac, who did make like 5 of the best games for Oculus. 4 of the best games and 1 terrible game for Oculus. So there you go. That's PlayStation VR 2, and that's probably dwindled the audience down to 1 or 2 people, but get used to it. VR's cool. It's the future, and you're going to have to love it one day, no matter what Xbox say. Let's talk about money, because people like sales and stuff, right? I don't. So this is going to be a really brief topic. I didn't ask you a question though. Are you getting PlayStation VR 2 or any other VR headset? That's my question for all of you here today. Give me your feedback on my precious VR while I sit back in my wagon. Where are we? Oh, it's 10:20. This wasn't the short show that I was aiming for. Let's speed through. Sony's quarterly financials. Did we see those? Yes, we did. They weren't very interesting, were they? They weren't very interesting. So there were a couple of big headlines that people pulled from Sony's quarterlies. People try and make sales interesting, whether they are or not. One of the big ones was a bit silly. Was Sony's, or the PlayStation division. I'm using these interchangeably, but obviously we're only really talking about the PlayStation division. Their profits were down 49%. Whoa, wiggity boogity, scary. And this was a bit of a nothing story. So their profits were down by about $250 million. But like, if that sounds worrying for PlayStation, it's really not. The reason that they only made $249 million is that they spent $3.2 billion on Bungie. If you excluded the Bungie acquisition from their revenue, profit, loss, whatever, then actually they had a really good quarter, made a bunch of money. So that's not that interesting. Exactly, Tony. Computers should definitely not drink often. Or at all. I once had a water-cooled PC, and the coolant that I chose deliberately because it looked like milk, which was fine, until I pierced a radiator at the top, and fake milk sprayed the entirety of my PC. That was very sad, because there were a lot of expensive parts in there. This was back in about 2013, around about the time that the Xbox One was launching, and I was sticking 4 graphics cards into a PC because I was an idiot. What else came out from Sony's thing that people actually pulled attention to? Kaya Santi, you're going to get one for content creation purposes. You're still deciding between the Quest Pro and the PSVR 2. But you actually want the Pico 4. Really good upgrade to the Quest 2. Currently not shipping in the States. The Pico 4 isn't shipping in the States. I did not know that. I thought that it was. So I want a Quest Pro and I want a PSVR 2. The Quest Pro is like slightly underwhelming for gaming. It's definitely not worth the price for gaming, but it is like fully compatible with my treadmill and setup and PCVR. So, and it is a good headset despite its absurd price. So hopefully I can scrape together enough to get one of those soon. And the PSVR2 is going to have some, I really do think it's going to have some good games for it, at least in the first year or two. And it would be weird for me not to have it, as I am all fully VR enthusiast. The Pico 4, I have less need for if I'm going to try and get myself a Quest Pro. But for those that don't know, Pico 4 is a standalone headset like the Quest, but better than the Quest 2 in some ways, and not tied to Facebook. The share price is still down 40%. Yes, KY. Yeah, I'm not saying that everything is wonderful at Sony, but just that particular figure on profit is whatever. They spent 3.2 billion. They're all right. Subscriptions are down as well. So that was the other figure. Their PlayStation Plus subscriptions are down by about 2 million, which they've said is because people have started going outside or whatever. And yeah, probably there's some truth to that. So their PlayStation Plus subscriptions are higher than they were before COVID, but lower than they were in the midst of it. And numbers suggest that they've mostly bled a load of people off of the PlayStation 4, which does imply potentially people leaving the PlayStation ecosystem and picking up an Xbox instead. Could well be a thing that's a factor there. But the other thing that they said is their revenue for their subscription services, so that is a bit more all-encompassing. It's not just PlayStation Plus. It kind of is now, but their revenue for subscription services is higher than it was previously. So overall, they've lost people from the platform, but the new tiers of PlayStation Plus, so the extra and premium tiers, are doing better than they were when they were separated out as PlayStation Now. So they've seen some kind of boost there, and they won't tell us the exact numbers, but for them to be making more money through subscriptions than they were implies that, yeah, some people did pick up the new tiers when they came about. Again, numbers not that interesting. You pay too much rent to go outside. That is a good point, Tony. Paying a lot for this building. I'm gonna stay here, get the most out of it. Oddly enough, the Pico 4 has the best resolution out even compared to the Quest Pro. What is the Pico 4 resolution? My problem with the Pico 4, KSNT, wait, do you live in America? So this is why now I can forgive myself. For the longest time I've been thinking, wait, like I used to think you were American and you told me you were Swedish. But if you live in America, then I forgive myself my previous errors. Because if you live in America, then you're an American to me, I'm afraid. You're a gun risk. I don't know why I said that. That's not true. But yeah, so Pico 4, the reason that I'm less interested in it is oddly enough because of my time with Windows Mixed Reality. I've come to trust, it's a silly thing to say that I trust Meta. I don't trust Meta, but I trust the platform for VR. I know how it works with my PC. And I know like it's reliable. I can play my Steam VR games on my treadmill reliably, wirelessly through like the officially supported Airlink or through Virtual Desktop. The Pico 4, it can do these things in theory, just like Windows Mixed Reality could do these things in theory. But particularly the PC VR support is very unofficial at the moment, and I don't trust that the tracking will be everything it's cracked up to be, and I don't trust that it will work perfectly with everything that I want it to. So much as it looks like on paper a decent headset, I consider it a bit of a risk for my own needs. Which isn't to say that it's bad. So if you get it, I'd be very curious to find out how you find it, what you think of it. That's it. I'm done. What else was there? I should look at. I mean, I'm not a salesperson. I don't care about Sony's financials and I don't care about Microsoft's financials. But it's like it's been the topic of the week for a lot of people. So I thought I'll just briefly touch on it. We'll just talk about it, fly through that, move on to it. Because I like games. I don't like corporations making the money, and I don't like them taking my money. None of that is interesting to me. Not done. We're nearly done. We're going to go. So my next topic says, I've got a little notepad to help me run through and get it through. A Spawncast poll of PlayStation Plus subscribers suggests a 3:1:2 ratio of essential extra premium. I suggest that's bullshit. Like, no disrespect to Spawncast, but their net's too small. And I don't think that ratio is going to be accurate. Like, I consider that. Especially, like, the audience that engages with Spawncast, same as, like, I'd say the audience that would engage with Game On Daily, is going to be more tuned into and more enthusiastic than the typical audience. No, I was going to touch on Atomic Heart. It's on the thumbnail, so we have to. But that's like a skewed sample, KY. So a skewed sample towards the most enthusiastic of gamers. So I'll be surprised if that ratio is on point. Kratos, that was a microwave meal. I hope that it was good. I legally have to. Witches, Acid Flare, welcome along. Who are we accusing of being a witch? The YouTube police will come for us. No, we're one of the most innocent channels on the entirety of YouTube. So my next topic says, Phil Spencer says some stuff about Call of Duty. As if I care, I'm sticking words in for the tube algorithm. So that was for my YouTube description. Phil Spencer said some stuff. Does anyone care? Have we had enough of Call of Duty yet? Can we all stop playing it? It looks bad. I don't believe the people that say that it's good. If you think that Call of Duty is good, speak now. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that you're enjoying Call of Duty on whatever platform you're playing on. A really small aside, like this Call of Duty has been very successful commercially, much more so than previous iterations, much more so than Vanguard. It's the biggest ever Call of Duty for the PlayStation Digital Store. Phil Spencer has been doing the rounds and did some podcasts and things and said that their intention is to keep it on PlayStation for as long as there is a PlayStation, which is clearly a veiled threat, saying that he's going to he's going to buy and dissolve Sony as soon as possible or whatever else. I don't know. It's Call of Duty. I pretend that I care, but Call of Duty is nowhere near as interesting as Crossfire on the PlayStation VR2. And I say that sincerely. And I'm aware that that's like, I'm up against about a ratio of probably 1 to 50 million people. There'll be a few people. The ratio of people that agree with me and disagree will be about 1 to 50 million, I think. But Crossfire on PlayStation VR2 looks night and day more interesting than Call of Duty. Crossfire was bloody awful. I agree, Acid Flare, and I am not saying that Crossfire is better than Call of Duty. I'm saying that Crossfire on the PlayStation VR2 is better than Call of Duty because VR elevates everything to be better than it could possibly ever be elsewhere. Crossfire Sierra Squad. I'm going to give you a refresher because you weren't here. Crossfire Sierra Squad from Smilegate is better than Call of Duty. Even if it turns out that the developers are inept and this is a really bad game, if it turns out to be one of the worst games on the PlayStation VR2, it's still more interesting than Call of Duty. Double diarrhea, maybe, but look, it looks fun. Genuinely, it looks fun. And I think, like for all that studio, I don't know, some of the trailers looked alright for the first one as well. They're shooting the glass, they're shooting the people. For some reason, they're not shooting the red barrels. But like, if their storytelling isn't very good, if their level design isn't very good, if they're just not a very accomplished developer in general, this still looks fun. Ah, look at that, he caught the grenade, he threw it. He's having a great time. A great time leaning around the corners, doing hand gestures for some reason. just to show off. Like, they don't even do anything. They have no function in the game. But he's doing them. Tony, no worries. This is ending very, very soon, as you may have gathered. The next one, by the way, I don't think I'm streaming tomorrow. I think it will be go live on Saturday, which is, I should talk about this at the end, but go live on Saturday is one where Gaz is on holiday for a couple of weeks. So please do come along and support it, because I get very uncomfortable doing that by myself. Is that purely on PlayStation VR2? The trailer is from PlayStation. It doesn't mean that it isn't going to other VR headsets, but it is a purely VR game as far as I know. Hopefully it's going to other headsets as well. I like everything to go everywhere where possible. It increases the chances of me being able to play it on my treadmill. Why no stream? Tomorrow I am having curry in a curry house with curry people. It's going to be delicious. How much PlayStation VR2 games cost is a good question, Acid Flare. Most of them, I mean, Horizon... So the bundle that you can get for the PlayStation VR2 that includes Horizon adds an extra $50 to the price. So I'd assume that game costs... Oh, you're getting pretty close to a full-priced game there. Most of them, though, most of the games are available elsewhere at much lower than a typical retail game. So we'll see when it comes out. I'm sure I won't be... It sounds weird, but I won't be upset if the prices go up, so long as it coincides with the quality going up. If they start delivering bigger, better content and charging bigger prices for it, I won't complain, because I want bigger and better content for it, and the game should be every bit as worthy of a price as a pancake game is, if they're putting in the same kind of effort. Let's have a quick look at Atomic Heart. So what I try to do, the first show of the month, typically I will have a little look at things that are coming out that month on services in particular. So games that are like big games coming out, but particularly games coming out to Xbox Live Gold. Yeah, those are turd every month for a while. And PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and all the rest of it. I'm going to skip that because I really did mean to keep this show relatively short and it hasn't been. But we are going to look at Atomic Heart. So Atomic Heart had a release date trailer. Atomic Heart. I can't freaking search properly. Get mad at myself. Atomic Heart. And Atomic Heart still looks brilliant. So I just want to watch the trailer and we can all go, ooh, that's a nice trailer. Let's see. And I haven't watched this yet. Here is Atomic Heart in the full screen, in the theatre mode with some volume, hopefully. Not for me, because my audio turned off again. Ooh. Generally, this is a very minor topic, really, but it did make the thumbnail. So we'll put it up. Who's looking forward to Atomic Heart? It looks really promising. The trailers always look amazing. Do we think that it's actually going to look as good as the trailers when it comes out? Because this is a PC trailer. You had a keyboard prompt come up just then. So this is PC gameplay on the highest spec PC they could possibly capture on. Do we think it's going to look this good on Xbox One? Because it is a cross-platform game. Is it going to get close to this on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5? Why was Steven Gerrard swearing at us? I don't know. Atomic Heart, coming soon. Well, coming in that date, February 21st, next year. Right? We're all gonna... It's on Game Pass, so I'm sure everyone's going to try it and play it, but do we think that the trailers are genuine? That's my question for you. Are they giving us a true reflection of how good that game is going to be when it comes out? Or is it like Crossfire on the Xbox, where the trailers are pretty good and then the game isn't? Okay, Santi, you've been on the lookout for this game for at least 4 years now. 4 years ago, someone uploaded 1 hour of gameplay footage for it. See, that's concerning, though. Like, 1 hour of gameplay footage. This is like the Black Myth Wukong school of game development. If it looked good 4 years ago, then I don't know. English voice actors. Oh, see, I didn't have volume, so I didn't get to hear them. It definitely has. So Kratos is there saying it's got the Bioshock vibes. It's definitely got really distinct art style that is kind of signature Bioshock. Yeah, you could say that was like Bioshock 4, and it would, like, people would have believed it if they didn't know the name was otherwise, because Bioshock settings have obviously moved from like the underwater dystopia to the sky city, so they could quite easily have moved to a completely different world that looked like Atomic Heart does now, and it would have been quite convincing. It looks to have been done for a long time now. Alarm bells. But I mean, someone from Microsoft has gone there and looked at it and played it and gone, hey, this has the potential to be a real and finished game. Let's give them money and put it on Game Pass. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully it comes out and looks and plays as it looks in the trailer and is an entire game. The Spawncast poll had 50,000 votes and 25,000 said they didn't subscribe. That is, I mean, that's a big sample, to be fair. I still, like, I'd still doubt, just because it is like the most hardcore of hardcore people that are going to go and respond to that, if that makes sense. And I don't like to define people as like hardcore or casual, but you know what I mean. These are the nerd enthusiasts that scour the internet for every morsel of news and want to be on the cutting edge of everything. So the people that are most likely to have premium and all the rest of it. Very PlayStation and Nintendo focused. Yeah, Nintendo, imagine that. Kratos, you're subscribing again with PlayStation Plus. You're not sure yet with premium. What about extra? So the tiers for PlayStation Plus, the basic one gets you your 3 or 4 games a month and your online play. So it's supposed to be equivalent of Xbox Live Gold. Extra has the majority of the catalogue of games, and premium adds streaming, which you need for the PlayStation 3 catalogue. So for a lot of people, the premium isn't necessarily worth it because they find they don't really stream or play PlayStation 3 games as much as they thought they would. But for some people it is. I have the premium one. I haven't streamed anything, but I'm an idiot. I still have Stadia. Do they still charge me? They better not. I don't think they do. I think they've stopped charging me now. Ha! Stupid Google. I like subscriptions. I'm an idiot. You can play... Oh, you have the top now. So you've got the premium. Yeah, the premium one is the top one. Unless you're in a country that doesn't support the streaming, and then you get deluxe instead. But and the trials don't count for much. They are there. They are a thing. But it's weird that they're behind a paywall. That's what I do, Kratos. I speak nonsense and confuse people. I think I've done a fair amount of that today. Right? Speaking in circles and confusing myself. But we are at end of showtime. So if you came in late and you don't know what the poll is, I think the poll is still open. My big question that I asked at the start of the show that I am really looking for feedback on is to do with what I do with the show going forwards. Do I keep it exactly as it is? Do I cancel it entirely? Do I add a regular co-host? Do I try and bring guests along? Those are my 4 options for what to do with the show. My plan isn't to cancel it, by the way. I'm not asking because I'm like not enjoying doing it or anything like that. I just want to make it the best it can be and the most fun it can be. And I'm absolutely going to keep the focus on this show being a conversation with all of you, because that's the part of it that I enjoy. But if it would be a little bit more fun with somebody else here talking as well, that's a thing that could be arranged. So giveaways, no. Baz, welcome along, but I have nothing to give you because I'm saving up for a Quest Pro. Add guests, definitely not plural, KSNT. It would have to be one at a time if I did. Reason being, when there are multiple people, I end up just not saying anything. As you'll see from Go Live, I'm very quiet there. Some dancing girls. That's an option that I hadn't considered. Option 5 is add some dancing girls at the beginning, end, and middle of the show. That's not a real one that you can vote, because everyone's just going to vote for that, and I won't get any decent feedback. KY, you're sabotaging my poll. If I did a mix of all three, so just week by week, see what happens, change it up, maybe invite someone along, maybe not, maybe chat like this. Hold it in the boob room. It has to be in a game. It's nerdy, but I quite like the stupid thing that I do, getting backgrounds and OSTs every week, so that's non-negotiable. Unless I get tired of it, and then it's still non-negotiable, it just goes away. But for now, I quite like doing that. Acid Flare, I hear you. I take on board those votes. I will ask around and see if I can find any, but I don't think that I'll be able to, I'm afraid. Okay. And again, if you've watched it late and not had a chance to vote and talk to me here, please do stick it in the comments. Peter's another one for I don't need more, just talk like this. Like I say, I'm very determined that the focus of it is conversational with all of you. It's just getting the format so that it's nice and smooth and fun for everyone. So that you don't all get bored when I start drinking hot chocolate or forgetting where I am or whatever else happens over time. But yes, that is the end for today. So, yeah, like this. If there was somebody else there, they could have gone, oh no, his brain's frozen again. I best interject and speak. It's the end for today. Go Live is on Saturday. Please do come and make me feel good about that, because those are weird. They're not weird. It's going to be a good show, and I've got some good guests. I've got good guests organised for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, come and support those. It'll be good fun. Make the show a meta chat room for the audience. You know, KY, I'm not totally against doing something more VR related, but it wouldn't replace this show. That would be something else entirely. So, yeah, Go Live, and I'll be back streaming. I'm going to finish The Quarry. I'm going to finish Psychonauts. I'm not going to promise to finish Horizon, but I'm going to play a bit more Horizon. I'm going to play God of War when I can. Sonic Frontiers, why not? Why not? I'm going to play everything. I've got all the time, all the motivation. Acid Flare, I do not want to channel Gaz. Gaz is enough. Gaz is for everyone. So we'll just wait until he gets back. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming by as always. Love these chats, and we will have another one next week. And I will see you in the meantime whenever you're about. Oh yes, I do have a PlayStation 5. I do. That's not a secret. I've forgotten. One of these buttons is going to end the show. I think it's this one.